Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning. I hope you everyone are doing well in this during this blizzard that we have this morning here in the USA. So let's without hesitation, let's get started with this webinar. AI machine learning based algorithms adoption in the life science industry. Quality and CSV professional couldn't need to know. My name is Ricardo Torres Rivera, and this session is actually being presented by Xevalics Consulting, which is actually I am the CEO and president. So let's what you're going to be learning today in this webinar. What are the topics? What you're going to learn? The first one is review the artificial intelligence, machine learning basic concepts. Share the current state of the FDA position on AI machine learning based solution. Explain the regulated companies quality and CSV need to know of AI machine learning in the life science industry. And finally, outline takeaways consideration for the AI machine learning based solutions implementation. So first, let's take a look of what is Xevalics Consulting. Xevalics Consulting is a dynamic human capital center, innovation-driven and result-oriented company in the life science industry. We deliver quality life science services and support our client in their mission to improve people's life. Our company is based in three fundamental pillars. The first one is innovation, human capital, and results. Our capabilities are computer system validation, computer software assurance consulting, data integrity, risk management consulting, program and project management, quality compliance and regulatory services, digital transformation and IT, cloud computing and cybersecurity consulting services, and finally, AI machine learning based solutions implementation. So let's get started with the content of this webinar. Artificial intelligence machine learning. Let's review some of the basics. So first, we actually have to acknowledge that currently you have heard that we are actually in another industrial revolution, which is related to AI, machine learning. So what are the factors, right? So we acknowledge first that we are in this AI revolution, but what are the six factors that might be triggering this revolution? The first one is big data, volume, variety, and velocity of the data. Secondly, processing power, hardware. Third, connected world. We're more connected, especially thanks to all the advancement being done in the telecommunication space. Next, applications. Value added by augmenting human skills and capabilities, advancing innovation, improving algorithms and talent, and finally, capital, accelerating returns. So we can see right now that actually this technology is based on AI machine learning are actually being put in use are being applied in some of our the industry, right? So just take a look. Let's take a look to some of the application that we're seeing in different industry. First, on social media, so we are seeing that there's sentiment analysis and filtering spam and others. On the transport space and industry, we are seeing safety monitoring, air traffic control. Then in financial services, we have algorithm trading, portfolio management, fraud detection, healthcare, and life sciences, right? So we are seeing this drug discovery, disease diagnosis, robotic surgery. We keep seeing other spaces like e-commerce, virtual assistant, that we're seeing some of this technology based on machine learning being put into production. So let's take a look to the definition of AI and machine learning. So what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence is a field of study that gives computer the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. This definition is coined to Arthur Samuel back in 1959. And also it's a branch of computer science, statistics, and engineering that uses algorithms or models to perform tasks and exhibit human behavior, such as learning, making decisions, and making predictions. Related to artificial intelligence, we have also machine learning. Machine learning is a subcategory, it's a subset of AI, and it's the capacity of computer to learn and adapt without following explicit instruction by using algorithms and statistical models to analyze and inform from patterns in data. Machine learning is concerned with the question of how to construct computer programs that automatically improve with experience. And actually, when we are saying that they have the capability to automatically improve with experience, when we're referring to this, we're talking about data and how that data affect our models. Also, for this webinar, it's important to review deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which is essentially a neural network with three or more layers. These neural networks attempt to simulate the behavior of the human brain, allowing it to learn from large amount of data. Deep learning algorithms can ingest and process unstructured data like text and images, and it automates features extraction, removing some of the dependency on human experts. So this is actually a kind of taxonomy that we at Gartner have put together in order for grouping most of the AI available techniques currently available. So the way that actually Gartner group actually grouped these technologies is based on different technique domain. So we have first probabilistic reasoning. So machine learning is actually within probabilistic reasoning, AI, probabilistic reasoning, and same thing happening with the deep learning. But we have other domains like computational logic, optimization techniques, natural language processing, and others. For this presentation, is important or relevant to take a look to probabilistic reasoning. Probabilistic reasoning is a technique domain that extracts value from the large amount of data. These include techniques aimed at unveiling unknown knowledge held within data or dimensions. This is done by discovering correlation linked to a particular goal or label within that data. Models might be based on calculus, linear algebra, probability theory, and others. So let's talk about the functions of machine learning based system. The first one is descriptive. So the system uses data to explain what happened. Our machine learning system could be predictive. The system uses the data to predict what will happen, or prescriptive. The system will use the data to make suggestions about what action to take, right? So let's take a look here to this graphic. You can see we have in this crystal ball, we're putting all the data. So let's think this is our model, and we expect our data to tell us, okay, some guidance instead, okay, what happened, what could happen, or which action we will take. But the most important thing is that in machine learning, data is at the heart of machine learning. Everything happens because of data. So we have some subcategories that actually we need to learn about machine learning. The first one is supervised learning, machine learning model. So this is actually a subcategory of machine learning, and it is defined by the use of labeled data sets to train algorithms to classify data or predict outputs accurately. As input, data is fed into the model. It adjusts its weights until the model has been fitted appropriately, which occurs as part of the cross-validation process. So it's important to take here a look in this with this actually supervised learning differentiate for other subcategories of machine learning is that we have actually this interaction in which we have as a person, an operator, supervisor, which is actually helping to train the model. So we provided some data set, training data set, and we have a decided input for the model to operate. With that, we actually provided some categories of label of the data. So it's actually a joint model between the supervisor and the AI program that we're working with, right? So then we have the input raw data. Everything comes into the system with the algorithm, and that will be processed, and the system will be able to have the capability in this particular case to tell that in our input raw data we have apple, pears, and mangoes. Supervised learning helps organizations solve for a variety of real-world problems at scale, such as classify spam in a separate folder from your inbox. Different from supervised learning, we have unsupervised learning model, machine learning unsupervised learning model. So this model uses machine learning algorithms to analyze a cluster unlabeled data sets. This algorithm discovers hidden patterns or data grouping without the need for human intervention. So this is actually different. If we take a look to this diagram, you can see that actually we don't have the human intervention here in this pattern. So we are not having like a training data set. We are not providing like a labeled data. So we just have the input raw data, and the data is unlabeled. But the algorithm has been structured in a way that is going to be able to take that input data and clustering and classify it on its own. So we actually have here as an output, so the algorithm has been intelligent enough to actually classify and cluster what they understand are monkeys or chimpanzees or cats. Its ability to discover similarities and differences in information make it the ideal solution for exploratory data analysis, cross-selling strategies, customer segmentation, and image recognition. So we can actually determine, so the intended use could help determine the applicable machine learning algorithm and technique for the model. So it's important, right? Okay, we can take if we take a look to this chart or this graphic, we're saying that if we're trying to perform population growth prediction, estimated life expectancy, market forecasting, weather forecasting, advertising popularity prediction, that we can use a regression model. But if we are trying to do diagnostics, customer retention, image classification, identify fraud detection, that's classification, and this falls within the supervised learning techniques, so categories. But if we're trying to do customer segmentation, targeting marketing, or we're having a recommender system, we have been actually being exposed almost in every social media platform that we use, that's actually clustering. And also we have big data visualization, meaningful comprehension, structured discovery, future elicitation, and actually that's dimensionality reduction, and that's unsupervised learning. So let's take a look to the FDA position on HI machine learning based solution. What's the current state? So actually, we have been seeing that the FDA has, during the last 5, 6, or 7 years, have been actually been generating, driving some initiative or publication related to AI and machine learning. Most of this has been happening in the medical device space. And we actually, for example, one of the key documents that we have is the proposed AI machine learning regulatory discussion paper and request for feedback. And that's dated back to April 2019. And after that, a year after that, the FDA came with a executive summary of AI machine learning in medical devices. Then we have seen an action plan. And actually, back in 2021, we have been both the FDA published in a joint effort with the Canadian Health Agency and the MHRA, the Good Machine Learning Practice for Medical Device Development Guiding Principles. This is from 2021. And very recently, just in September 22, the agency published a software per certification pilot program, tailoring total product lifecycle approach and key findings. And it's important to mention that even when this initiative is related to the pilot program, some of the key findings in this report may apply or give us an idea of what is the FDA, the agency position towards AI machine learning initiative. So let's take a look to all the FDA AI machine learning enabled medical devices that have been approved up to October 2022. So as October 2022, this year, the FDA has authorized 525 AI machine learning enabled medical devices. So you can see that we have seen an increase actually in the last 7 years. 2015, we are seeing that there's actually a trend that the FDA is actually approving more and more machine learning enabled medical devices. So if we actually take a deeper look to this data, we can see that most of these approvals that it have been happening, radiology AI tools represent about 3/4 of the total FDA authorized submissions. And there's some potential results behind that. So one is ample data sources for device developer to draw from imaging and electronic cardiograms. Radiology data sets available tend to be bigger, more comparable, and cleaner than other medical areas. So you can see by just actually seeing the quality of the data have actually helping out to drive the advancement of AI machine learning, because actually the data is in better quality, in better position compared to other medical panels. So here, the FDA actually recognize that there are some opportunities and challenges of actually moving forward with AI machine learning and enabled medical devices. So let's take a look first to the opportunities. So there's significant positive impact on healthcare. So like early disease detection, more accurate diagnosis, new insight into human physiology, personal diagnostics and therapeutics, application across all medical fields, and the ability to learn, adapt, and improve performance. That's one of the benefits of actually using this kind of technologies. But at the same time, we have some challenges. The first one is providing oversight for an adaptive system, opacity of some algorithms, fit for purpose data set for development and testing, including diversity, identification and minimization of biases in data, and ensuring transparency to users. So we're going to be actually, the rest of this presentation, we're going to be actually focusing in discussing each of the challenges that the FDA is presenting. So let's take a look to static versus dynamic machine learning model. So a static model is when the model is training offline, the model is trained exactly once and use that trained model for a while. The model do not adapt in production, not automatically, nor in real time, also known as a log model. This algorithm may use manual process for updates and validation, right? So what you can see here, when we are working with a machine learning model that is actually static or log model, this is very similar as we perform computer system validation as of today. And it's very similar too as when the agency is used to give the certification approval to the to a medical device. We do expect changes. Any changes from the data that affect our design or configuration of our software solution of that particular medical device. So what happened is that but different from that is it's a dynamic model. So a dynamic machine learning model is an adaptive algorithm that continuously is a continuously learning algorithm. The model is training online as data is continually entering into the system, that data is incorporated into the model through continued updates. The machine learning components of the system can adjust their behavior based on the data after initial implementation in production using defined learning process. So what's the FDA current situation in this? So to date, FDA has only cleared or approved AI machine learning based software as a medical device with algorithms that are logged prior to marketing. But the agency acknowledged in terms that the power of the dynamic adaptive algorithms of this AI machine learning based software as a medical device within the ability to learn continuously. So the adaption or change to the algorithm is realized after the software as a medical device is distributed for use and has learned from real world experience. So following distribution, this type of continuously learning and adaptive AI machine learning algorithm may provide a different output in comparison to the output initially clear for a given set of outputs. So then, why dynamic adaptive algorithms are a challenge to the FDA? Well, the traditional paradigm of medical device regulation was not designed for adaptive AI machine learning technologies with the potential to adapt and optimize device performance in real time to continuously improve healthcare for patients. So in a response, actually, to the situation for the dynamic algorithms, the FDA is actually looking for an alternative approach, and this is the total product life cycle alternate proposed new approach. And this is actually so the agency is proposing the adoption of the total production life cycle, the regulatory approach, to facilitate the rapid cycle of product improvement and allow these devices to continually improve while providing effective safeguard. The total product lifecycle will be an appropriate response to the highly iterative, autonomous, and adaptive nature of this tool. So this is actually how this a graphical representation of how this new approach looks like, right? So the total product lifecycle approach is the evaluation and monitoring of software and products from its market development to post-market performance. along with continued demonstration of the organization excellence. Along with the iterative cycle of algorithm development, there are common principles to consider, including the quality and applicability of the data set used for testing, the algorithm training methods, and the test method. So let's take a look to this graphical representation right here, right? And this is actually the way we traditionally going to be challenging and designing our algorithm, the designing process, development process. So we have our data selection and management. We define how we're going to be model and training our and tuning, and we go going into model validation. As you can see here right now, we have the good machine learning practice pool, just published it from the agency, and then of course we release our medical device to the market, and as new data comes in and the model is deployed, which is different is that we have to model monitoring, which is look and track and evaluate performance. This is actually new, and that's why this orange section that you have from here are being incorporated by this new approach. One of the areas that is very interesting, two of the areas that are very interesting first is the culture of quality organizational excellence is factoring in terms of the areas that the FDA will going to be monitoring as part of this new approach. And finally, real world performance monitoring. All right, let's continue with the with this presentation. So we have also black box AI adaptive algorithm. That's another area of concern for the agency. So let's review what is a black box AI. So this is an AI system whose inputs and operations are not visible to the user or the other parties. AI machine learning algorithms varies in the level of opacity in relation of how transparently that the particular algorithm draws conclusion of data. The package form is referred as black box. So, what are the reasons for black box AI algorithm? So, in some cases, algorithms are not transparent because explicit rules in which these rely are too complex to be explicitly understandable. In other cases, the relationship used in a black box algorithm are literally unknowable because of the machine learning techniques employed. So, for example, in these cases, no one, not even those who program the machine learning process, know exactly what factors go into ultimate decisions. Also, black box algorithms are especially likely to evolve over time as they incorporate new data into integrated process of learning and an application. So it's important. We have three cases right here that it could happen. First one is because the person who developed the complex being used in the model are too complex to be understandable. The second one is because it may be possible our model is actually giving us apparently correct answers or outputs are correct are fine, but we don't know the logic that is behind for the system is using to actually generate or produce those results. And finally, it may be possible that the way that algorithms is designed is been actually changing and getting more into a black box or into a package form once that actually is getting more data from the real world. Okay, so because of the black box algorithm, there's a need for higher levels of transparency. So why do we need that, right? So higher level of transparency are necessary to get insight of the algorithm functions and demonstrate what the model is perceiving to inform decisions. This is not only applicable to the methods and data used to develop the algorithm, but also to the interpretation of the decision or outcomes reached by the AI machine learning device. So actually, is we have to in order transparency is important also for the intended use of that particular medical device. So because of that, there's a need to know from the stakeholders, right? So stakeholders need to know. So there's information that AI machine learning medical device manufacturers should make available to the users. The first one is like a clear description of data that were used to train the system, the relevance of the input to the algorithm, the logic employed by the application, and the evidence of its importance, of its performance. One way to gain the trust of patients and providers in AI machine learning today is to explain the why of the algorithm output as well as the what. And here we can actually extrapolate this to the computer system validation, actually to the life science industry, because actually as we start adopting this new technology, we should be actually to provide this level of detail to our stakeholders, whether it's actually our end user within our company, but actually to external stakeholders like regulator or our customers, immediate customers. So there's actually some talk and discussion regarding okay proposed approach for actually for risk AI machine learning risk categorization. The first one comes with from the International Medical Device Regulator Forum. And basically, what happened, they're saying is that they're providing a risk categorization system for software as a medical device based on the intended use of the device. The intended use is defined by the significance of information provided by the medical device to the healthcare decision and the state of the healthcare situation. These factors can be used to place the AI machine learning based software as a medical device into one of four categories, from the lowest, which is number one, to the highest, which is four, reflected the risk associated with the clinical situation and the device use. So you can see what we have actually in the column is just the intended use of that particular software as a medical device. Is this for to treat, or is it one of these intended use could be treat or diagnose, drive clinical management, inform clinical management. But actually, here in the role, we're saying, okay, in which particular situation we're going to be actually using this particular medical device. Is the situation critical, serious, or not serious? So let's say, take for example, a level 4, which is the highest. If we're trying, if this is actually the system is recommending an action to treat or diagnose, and the situation is critical, that's number 4. But if the situation is not serious and we're looking for the intended use to inform the clinical management, that's number 1. Another approach that we have been seeing recently, right, is benchmarking for AI machine learning risk categorization is actually benchmarking other industry approaches. So this approach is actually based from level of autonomy. So experts have adapted the Society of Automotive Engineering's J3016 classification for self-driving cars to identify the sixth level of autonomy in healthcare. In this model, the highest level indicates full autonomy with no requirement for human intervention on interaction. This is actually level 5. Most AI machine learning systems currently being designed provide decision support where clinicians are still expected to provide oversight of algorithmic interpretation or intervene in certain scenarios. So basically, what we are seeing, most of the all the medical device currently being designed, most of the products applicable to the life science industry falls within level 2 or level 3. In this, there's some interaction between the expected some interaction between the AI model and human interaction. So there's no actually in the foreseeable future, in terms of having applications in production with with complete level of autonomy. So this is actually is not seen in the foreseeable future. So another area that is of concern for the agencies regarding the biases and robustness consideration in terms of the data. So because AI machine learning systems are developed and trained using data from historical data set, they're vulnerable to bias and prone to mirroring biases presenting data, present in data. Healthcare delivery is known to vary by factors such as race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. Therefore, it is possible that biases present in our healthcare system may inadvertently be introduced into the algorithms. Medical device must be well suited for a racially and ethnically diverse intended patient population, so methods must be developed for identification and elimination of bias and the robustness and resilience of this algorithm to withstand changing clinical input and conditions. So let's take a look to the AI machine learning in the life science industry. So regulated company Quality and CSV professionals need to know. So let's take for the potential uses cases for pharma supply chain in pharma supply chain. For example, cold chain change management. So let's think about the COVID vaccine that's even in the last 2 years because of the pandemic, right? So AI could help us actually to determine the optimal cold change. That in order to distribute the logistics for the vaccine that actually has to be maintained within certain temperatures, route optimization, fighting counterfeit medicines, demand planning, predictive maintenance and reliability, automated procurement, chatbot ordering and returns. But also AI machine learning is being considered as fundamental tools within the Industry 4.0 and Quality 4.0 initiative. As you can see here from this diagram, artificial intelligence and machine learning are included, and deep learning are included in tools that actually help to move forward the industry to move forward with these initiatives, Quality 4.0 and Industry 4.0. So what we have been seeing in terms of the proposed approach for computer system validation. So early this year, the GAM5, ISP has released the GAM5 second edition, and there's actually a chapter dedicated for validation of AI machine learning based technologies. So let's take a look actually to this diagram, which actually represent the proposed approach by GAM5 second edition. The first one is that data is a driver force, as we have been saying, data is a driver force of machine learning. So in this model, there's an integration and synchronization of parallel activities between the core system activities and machine learning system development. So you're seeing right now, so we're taking here the core system, and we have another effort related to the machine learning subsystem development. So the core system, although here it's been presented as an agile function, but here might be possible that we are following in our life cycle the V model. So in this one, we have, of course, if we follow GitGam 5 life cycle approach, we have concept, project, and operation. And you can see, which is different, is that how much important or relevant is now having data, even from the concept. So we have to make sure that our data warehouse, data lakes, we have to work on this. We have to define our data sets, case data sets, training set, and validation set. So we have activities actually related to data, which is actually making sure that data has been normalized. And of course, these, in terms of the activities of the effort, we have to make sure that we keep forward working with our core system development for the requirements, but in parallel we're going to be actually working with the machine learning subsystem, making sure, right, we design and we test our model. So one thing is that functions related to model verification might be dependent on model integration and development, right? So we continue working in our core system, but it might be possible that we get into a stall in order to being able to test fully our system because it's dependency of the machine learning system. So we had to make sure that we have this one ready in order to be able to fully test our system and finally deploy our system to production. Which is actually different here is that there should be another stage for monitoring and evaluate performance and trend continuously once the system is in production, right? And then if based on the model, if it's dynamic or is static or dynamic, so we have to make sure, to follow our change management processes in place depending on what kind of result are we seeing actually based on because of the data, how our models behaving and the impact for the data if receiving when the system has been actually been released to production. Another approach we have been seeing in the industry is actually is proposed AI maturity model for GXP application, and we have here a foundation for validation. This has been published by the ISP, so Pharmaceutical Engineering Magazine, back in this edition of March April 2022. And here, the authors are proposing a model which is actually in which there are commensurate the level of validation effort needed based to the actual level of autonomy of the system, right? So what they are saying is that if we're working with a system that doesn't have much it's not that autonomous. It actually runs in parallel with the operator. So that's a level one. And what they are proposing say, okay, level one, there's no validation require. But as the level of autonomy of the particular model system increases from level one, level two, level three, level four, all to level six. So actually, so this actually at the same time, we should consider order to the level of the level of validation required and verification will increase in accordance to the level in accordance in alignment with the level of autonomy. Okay, so let's take a look to some takeaways and considerations, right? So we can have based on the learning that we have been seeing of areas of concern or challenges from the FDA, we can actually have some recommended action for AI machine-based solutions implementation in regulated companies. So the first one is providing oversight for an adaptive system, right? So what we can do is for the system in operation state, ensure regulated company has a process for monitoring and evaluating performance and trends for the system, and then follow applicable change management process. For opacity of some algorithm, which is actually black box algorithms, AI algorithm, so the level of algorithm opacity accepted must be commensurate to the risk level tolerance of the regulated process the AI machine learning solution will be supporting. This is system with patient health and safety potential adverse effect should be considered at a higher risk than supported system, which is that if, as the higher the risk to the patient health and safety. So basically, we should be not allowing to have implement solutions that actually are black box if if the health and safety of the patient we're going to be at risk. And then fit for purpose data set for development and testing, including diversity. So perform an assessment and document fit for purpose rationale of selected data set for the machine learning model development. And this is actually a new test that we need to actually provide a part of computer system validation because we need to provide sufficient documentation and provide a rationale in which we're with justification and rationale to determine why do we understand that this particular data set is sufficient for making sure to validate the performance of our model, machine learning model. Identification and minimization of biases. So document potential that data biases identified on initial assessment, including bias identification as part of monitor and evaluate stage once the system model is in production. Ensuring transparency to user and stakeholders. Validation verification approach follow it must be self-sustained and should provide sufficient background information about verification approach, follow, and mechanics of the model. So, quality of CV professional getting ahead of the AI machine learning adoption game. This presentation might be actually for you being presented in the pessimistic mode, but actually it is not. Knowing now that we have these challenges, what we have to do is just embrace adoption in your company of HI machine learning based technologies as this become available. Foster innovation by being an AI machine learning early adopter. Ensure to keep current knowledge of the market and the industry trend in this arena. But importantly, follow a risk-based approach for implementation. Consider to follow GAN 5, second edition proposed model for machine learning subsystem validation. And finally, incorporate into risk assessment the FDA AI machine learning enabled software as a medical device challenges as focus areas. So you can perform an assessment for a criteria, an assessment for level of opacity, black box AI of your algorithm or model, oversight, fit for purpose data, transparency, and data biases. All right. So, okay. Thank you so much for joining. Here's our contact information, and please feel free to share your comments and feedback of this presentation. And if you like to hear another topic related in this arena or to computer system validation, project management, and quality, please feel free to share those with us. And we wish you a happy holidays with your beloved loved one. So thank you so much.